you know? And I genuinely believe, because I was one of those people, like even at a really, really young age, if you know you like something, nothing's going to take you out of it.
Right.
If you know that this is something that you like can't let go of, it doesn't matter what it is.
That's something that I have to talk with them too, because, you know, it's about, if you have passion for something, you're not going to always love
100%.
Like, I mean, speaking just from a marriage perspective, there are any times I don't always love my husband. There are any times I always like him. But I'm in love with him and I'm committed to him.
Yeah.
So that's what gets us through those really hard times.
That's a good point.
Same thing with being an athlete. Like, there are going to be days when you come in, you're like, I do not want to be here. And we can address that, you know, and they'll tell me, like, I don't want to be here today. I'm like, well, what's up? Like, well, I'm on my period, or like, I don't feel well, or all of these things. It's like, okay, so what does 100% look like today? Well, this is what I can give. Then give me that. You know, and those are good conversations you have to have. And so I remind them, you may not want to be here, but just this will pass. Tell me whenever you've had a great day, you're doing everything you want, you've gotten a new skill, you're winning, all these things, then come and tell me if you still want to quit. If the answer is yes, then that is the right decision. If it's like, nah, I was just having a bad day, like, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're passionate about it, but just understand, and that's a lesson we have to teach kids too, is like, sometimes we got to do things we don't want to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not going to always love to be here because you're tired or you're sore. But if you know you want the end goal, you'll be willing to do those days.
Yeah.
And those are things I thought about at 10 and 11 when I'm going through whatever, and I'm like, this sucks, but I want Olympics, or I want college. So I'm just going to get through it. I'll get there eventually. I just got to get through it. And that's a conversation too. So it's a fine line of like, well, we want her to enjoy it, but also not everything is enjoyable in life. And you're going to have to do things you want to do. Because good luck calling your boss one day and be like, I'm just not feeling it today. I'm not coming into work. Okay, well, you're fired.
Yeah.
So good luck. And I told my, I said, don't come knocking at my door whenever you don't have a job and you're homeless. I don't have that much room. You know, just those life lessons of, yes, we should be happy and passionate about what we're doing, but also no, we're not always going to be happy. We're humans. We're going to have emotions. We're going to have bad days. Don't just quit.
My take on that is that, especially when I'm talking to parents, I'm like, what adult do you know that can do 100% every day?
Right. What adult wakes up every day and is like, I love my job?
Like, find me that adult, because I guarantee you can't, for real. Like, I can't. If adults can't do it, why do you expect children to?
Why are we asked out of kids? That's 100%.
Right. So,
and and to a point we should, because we're trying to teach them, but also do not have an expectation for your child that you won't even hold yourself to, because now you're a hypocrite.
Correct. So you brought up earlier about your athlete in terms of the foundation and Zumba beam.
Guess what? She doesn't do beam anymore.
The trauma is there.
Not choose beam as a specialist, and I don't blame her.
I know the answer to this question because it's a nuanced answer. That's the answer. But your perspective, your opinion. What do you think is more important, the system that you work under or the coaching that you have?
That's a tough one, and I think for me, when I was thinking about this question, I think the coach, because if you have a system in place, the system is just this intangible object.
Yeah.
The coach is tangible. Okay, we might have a system in place, but it takes the people in the system to uphold the system. So if I don't have a coach that's going to abide by the culture that I want or the system that needs to happen, the system doesn't mean anything, because I don't have the right people in place to make sure the system has integrity. That's my opinion, because again, you look at USAG. It was the system of, we want to protect the athletes and we blah, blah, blah. Okay, but the adults in the system didn't do that. They failed us for years. So decades. I would argue the human, aka the coach, has to be on the same page as the system, or the system will never work. So I need to remove the thorn from the rose bush, or it's not going to be a rose bush much longer. Sure. It's just going to be pokey.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. And I think about that all the time because
it's a hard question. Yeah, they really do coincide well. But for me, when I think of it from a technical stance, I'm like, the system could be what it is, but who's there to hold it accountable?
So
the individuals.
I've attacked this question from a lot of different angles, and I've tried to dissect it as much as possible. Because I have wanted to run a program for a while now, and then I've been given the opportunity to do so. So then I'm thinking about a lot of things all at the same time. Like I'm thinking about longevity, legacy. How do you cultivate like a name for yourself, right? And then how do you do it in the right way? Like the methodology that you use is just as important as who is the results that you get, right? At least in my opinion, it is. Then I'm thinking like I want to make sure that every kid walks out of this building feeling like they have a positive memory of the sport, regardless of where they ended, how they what the result is after this building, right? For me, the failure for as a coach for me would be that somebody walks out of a building and says, I hate gymnastics.
Yep.
That to me is I don't care how many 9-9s you got. If you walked out of there saying like this sport can like burn,
right?
I'm like something went wrong, right? So I've attacked it from many different ways. I've worked under very different systems that are equally as effective as they are problematic, and to me, the answer is that there has to be a good marriage of both. That's like my cop-out answer.
Yeah.
But I also think that the way that you attack the question who you are, and the way that you attack the question informs where you arrive at the answer. Because if you say you look at it from an individual athlete's perspective, then the answer is the coach.
Yeah.
Undeniably, it's the coach. Because one athlete will be going through something and they only live in their mind and they're the main character of their story. And to them, this system is intangible. They're not thinking about all the nooks and crannies of the system and how it works and why we do things in this way and why the rotations are this way and why people pay what they pay. Like that's none of their concern. They don't think about any of the back end stuff, right? So if you made an impact on them as a coach, they're going to say that coach made the biggest difference to me. So the coach was more important than the system, right? But if you look at it collectively, so instead of looking at it through just one person's perspective, and now you look at it from like a law of averages and like 150 people at the same time, 250 people that walk through your door and went through your program. If I look at it through those numbers and not just one person, then I say, oh my God, the system is so important because how do I ensure that 250 people can? Because if I try to divide myself in 250 different ways, I don't think I'd last in the sport.
Yeah.
I think I'd be so emotionally drained that I'd be like, I can't save everybody, right? So I'm like, how do I cultivate a system that lends itself extremely well for the matriculation and the maturation of all these athletes, so that they feel like they're connected to the sport and the coaching, and that they can feel supported. And the more people that I fit into that bubble, does that mean that like each individual one-to-one care slightly goes a little bit off? Or I don't know the answer to that, but like if I look at it through the perspective of like I've been here for 10 years, like 10 years from now, same gym, who knows how many athletes walked through this program, who knows how many 10s I had, who knows how many college athletes came from here, who knows how many little ones came, whatever, right? The numbers are the numbers. Would I be able to do year 11?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh my God, this system is so important. And immediately, as soon as I think about it like that, I'm like, man, I need such a good system. I need a system that's not going to kill my shoulders. I need a system that's going to let my staff matriculate also and get education without them feeling stuck somewhere. But then I look at it through just one athlete. I'll show up to work and then like one athlete's having a good day. And I'm like, I can't just like be like, trust the system. I've got to be the one to go in there in that moment and be like, hey, let's get up. Let's pick ourselves up.